Namaste everyone and welcome again, or maybe you're new, so welcome anyway, at this yin yoga practice this evening, or in the morning, or in the afternoon, but as you can see from me it's already evening. And in general I would also like to say that it might be nice to do yin yoga in the evening rather than in the morning or in the afternoon, so this is why I'm always doing it at night, as you can see in my previous videos as well. For tonight's practice, I've chosen to work a bit with the knees. I know a lot of people have some knee issues. It's one of the more common injuries that I'm looking at when I'm teaching yoga. As well, I have to say, like I don't have an injury myself, but I have some weak ligaments and everything. So I have to be careful and cautious with my knees. And during these years, I've had some experience myself with some options or adjustments for myself that I would like to share with you guys. Of course, if you don't have any knee issues, you can still watch this video. I would really invite you to watch this video as well, especially if you are an aspiring yoga teacher. For this practice, you'll be needing a couple of things, which is two blocks, and that's actually basically it. I only work with blocks because I don't have a bolster myself. I've never owned one, and I hope to own one at one point in my life, but at this moment it's not so pressing, and I have a meditation pillow as well, so that's fine by me. And for the end, it's optional, but if you want, you can have a pillow, two pillows, or a blanket if you'd like to put underneath your knees. But that's completely up to you. I will explain it a little bit later. As you can see, I always have my two pillows right behind me, so I can always decide whether or not I want to have my pillow as well. And well, that's about it. So without further ado, let's start with this evening yoga practice, especially for the knees. And before we start our practice, we always start with a little bit of centering, which means that we're gonna focus on our breathing just for a couple of minutes. And before we sit in meditation, I would also like to show you something already. I have my blocks with me, so with one block, I'm gonna elevate my hips, and then I would like you to try putting one leg on the bottom with the arch of the foot on the mat, and then we do the same thing with the other foot. If you feel that this is hurtful for your knees, you can take your second block and raise your hips even more. And to be really honest, this is actually better than going into cross-legged position, especially if you've got some knee issues. Because when you're in this position, your hips are raised, so first of all, it's going to be quite hard for you to slouch, so it's going to be hard for you to, yeah, even I can't do it at this moment, so. And another thing is, because of the freedom you'll be getting in your hips, you're also going to align your legs a little bit better, so they're not only going to be much more comfortable in meditation, but at the same time the blood flow will just continuously go, rather than when they're cross-legged that you always block the energy or your blood flow. So when you found your comfortable position for this moment, you can go and sit in that position, and then we're gonna close our eyes just for a couple of minutes. And when we've closed our eyes, we're gonna have a little look at our breathing. So we're just gonna observe without changing anything at all. And the thing is, at this moment, we're not even going to change anything at all during our entire practice. So, the way your breath is at this moment is how it will be for this session. And maybe by the end of the practice, you'll notice that your breath has changed without you doing anything at all. So for this practice, I would really like to invite you to make sure that you observe the breath without changing anything at all, and to feel relaxation come naturally while you're doing your yoga poses. And then when you're ready, we've been here for a couple of minutes, you can slowly lower the chin to your chest. If you want, you can bring your hands together in front of your chest as well, in front of your heart. Know that it's not mandatory, it's all up to you. And then you can gently open your eyes again, adjust your eyes to the light, and then raise your chin again. And lower the hands. Alright, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take away our blocks now, or our block from underneath our buttocks, and we're gonna place our feet together. And rather than bringing our feet towards our groins or towards our hips, we can go deeper by just lifting our hips and bringing our hips forward, which actually is also a very good way to make sure that you're not injuring your hips or your groins or even your knees in the end. So we're in butterfly pose now, and you might feel that it puts a little bit of strain on your knees or your ligaments. So if you want, you can put a block just underneath your knees. For me, it's not really necessary, but I'm gonna do it anyway, just to make sure. And the area that you really want to focus on are your groins and your hips. So your knees actually shouldn't feel anything at all in this position. And then we're gonna inhale and lengthen our spine. And on the exhale, we're gently bowing forward. And just know that within this pose, it's gonna be very hard to go all the way to the floor or to your mat. So don't be worried if it's just a couple of centimeters or inches that you can go forward. It's perfectly fine, there's no problem at all. And then we're gonna be here for 2 minutes. So you can close your eyes, bow forward, and just let the relaxation come towards you. So take these 2 minutes just to observe your breathing without changing anything. And let the position, the yoga position, just do its work. Good, everyone. And then now on the next inhale, you can raise your upper body again. You can take away your blocks, and then the next pose is gonna be deer pose. So I'm gonna position myself a little bit differently. Just know that you can just stay at the same spot that you were. No worries at all. So we're gonna go in deer pose now. So we're gonna bring our left foot backwards and our right foot comes about in a 90-degree angle to your front. And ideally, you would have your leg, your back leg, your left leg also in a 90-degree angle. And I have to mention that this might as well put some strain on your knees. Maybe not as bad, but for me in this position, I always feel myself going to the right side or to the left side, considering which leg I'm using. So what I always do is I always use a block and put it underneath my hip. So in this position with the right leg in front, I will put a block underneath my hip, my right hip. And then it's going to be more comfortable. I won't have the feeling that I'm going to fall to the side. And at the same time, it's also better for my knees, because as you can see, my thigh is a little bit elevated, meaning that it's also gonna put less strain on the knees, the meniscus and everything. And then in this position, we put our hands on the mat, and then for the next 2 minutes, we're gonna stay in this position, and we're gonna close our eyes, and we're gonna feel the stretch in our left hip. And then you can gently open your eyes again. And then for the next position, we're actually going to stay a little bit in this position. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch our left leg completely. So we come into a swan pose. And the same thing here. If you're on the block because you want to protect your knee, I would actually suggest doing the same thing. Just raise that hip, the right hip now, and then you will see that you put a lot less strain on the front leg and the back leg as well. And then here as well, we're gonna stay for 2 minutes. Alright, then you can open your eyes again. And from this position, we're gonna go straight into sleeping swan. So we're gonna bend forward completely. And here you can decide, because this will put more stress on your right knee, your front knee. So if you want, you can also put your right foot a little bit closer to your left hip. That's going to make sure that the weight is not completely on top of your knee, but make sure that it's evenly divided among your whole entire leg. I'm going to put my foot back a little bit, and then we're going to come down. Also here, if you feel that you're too high with your hip, you can release the block if you'd like. And here we're gonna stay for 3 minutes.
Alright, let me open our eyes again very gently. And we're gonna lift our upper body again. And then from here, we're gonna bring our feet back together. And now it might be nice to get those two pillows, or if you want, you can also go backwards without using your pillows. It's up to you, but we're gonna go into a supine butterfly. So again, we're gonna put our knees, our heels near to our groins. So to go a little bit deeper, I'm gonna raise my hips again and bring them a little bit forward. In this position, I always like to have my blocks underneath my knees for a little support. And you can go a little bit restorative and put two pillows to support your spine as well. So also in this position, we're gonna stay for 3 minutes. So we're gonna fall backwards, our arms to our side. So it's also a bit of a little heart opener. Not too much, but just a little one. And then we're gonna close our eyes. And while we're in this position, we're gonna observe our breath again. And we're gonna see if you can already feel or see some changes in your breathing. And then, when you are ready, on the next inhale, you bring up your body very slowly. You can put the pillows aside again. You can put your blocks on the side as well. And I'm gonna turn around now. And now we're gonna do the exact same sequence, but now the other side, of course. So now we're gonna bring our right leg to our back, like this. and then our left leg to the front. And as you know by now, we're gonna lift our left hip a little bit, and we're gonna stay in this position for the next 2 minutes. Alright, very good. And then from here, you can open your eyes again, and then, come a little bit forward. Alright. And then you can stretch your right leg, and you can decide if you want to put that heel closer to your right hip. So left heel, right hip. If you feel you've got enough opening, you can bring your foot a bit forward. And then we're going to stay here for the next 2 minutes. Okay, and if you want, you can open your eyes again. And then we're gonna go into sleeping swan. So we're gonna bend forward. And we're gonna be here for 3 minutes. And then your own pace, on your next inhale, you can raise your upper body again. And then you can come back with your legs to the front. And then I want to tell you one more position. So from here, we're going to go into a tabletop position. And then we're going to go into saddle pose. So your knees will be a little bit further than hip width apart. And your your hips will be coming in between your feet. And as you might know and see already, this will put a lot of stress on your knees. And there are actually a couple of things you'll be able to do. And there are actually a couple of things you'll be able to do. What I like to do sometimes is use a pillow and put it like right underneath my knees. And then you raise, you can't see it really properly right now, but basically you're doing this. But then it's covering both knees, of course. So you'll be sitting on the pillow, but at the same time your knee won't be compressed too much into your thigh. What I also like to do sometimes is just to put a blanket underneath here without using the pillows. Or what you also can do is put one or even two blocks in between. And this is actually a nice position after dinner. It's very great for the digestion. So this is actually a pose that you can do whenever you want to. We're just going to be here for 1 minute now at this point. So close your eyes, and then for 1 minute we'll be here. Good. You can open your eyes gently again. And then what I also want to mention is there's also supine saddle pose. And if you've used the blocks now, it's going to be quite hard to go into supine saddle pose, because that means that you will need to go very deeply, which you can already see is not going to happen at all. So for that position, it might be easier going on one block and not to go too deep. So that this might be your maximum. What you also can do is just skip the whole pose and stay a little bit in saddle pose. It's going to be really great for your digestion. We're not going to go into this position right now, but just for the future, maybe at some point I will incorporate that position into one of these sequences. So if you want to practice this position, please let me know in the comment section down below at the end of the practice. And then for now, it's actually almost done. We're going to go into our last position, which is Shavasana. And if you want, you can make it yourself really comfortable. If you have a bolster, you can put it underneath your knees. But as you know by now, I don't have one. So what's also possible is just to put two pillows next to each other and put your legs over it. It's actually really great for your lower back, for your lower spine, but also to just give your knees a little rest, to lift them up a little bit, to make sure that there is a little curve in your legs, to make sure that there is no compression, that the knees can just relax for a couple of minutes. So you can come down, and then once again you can close your eyes, and then for the next 5 to 10 minutes we're going to be in this position. And now we don't have to do anything at all. Just like at the beginning of this practice, we're just going to observe our breathing. And we are going to just notice what's going on with our breathing. So we're going to check our inhales and our exhales, just to look if there's any change. We're even going to try not to put anything on that change. Just let it be and just let it flow as it is flowing at this moment. And then at the same time, when you're done, just let go of the whole image and let go of everything, and just keep everything as it is for the next 5 to 10 minutes. And then, when you are ready, you can slowly bring back movements in your fingers, in your hands, your toes, and your feet. And then make that movement bigger. Slowly, slowly, you bring back movements into your arms and your legs. And even here, you start making that movement a little bit bigger, and you can maybe stretch yourself completely. And then when you are ready, you come onto your right side. And then gently push yourself up into a seated position with your eyes still closed. And then, if you want, you can bring your hands in front of your chest together and lower your chin. From here, you can open your eyes again. Let them adjust to the light again. And then raise your head again. So that was it for this yoga session. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have learned a couple of things about your knees and how to protect your knees within your yoga practice. If you want more of this, please let me know in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to get more videos. Namaste everyone, and see you next time.